Hello, hello. This is Joann Barnett, the ChristianSimmer. Today is July 31st, Wednesday. It is a little after 7 a.m. While my sim here writes her short stories about how to not follow the antichrist, I'm going to be giving you the highlights of a July 30th, 2019 USA Today news article titled 13 Sex Trafficking Statistics that Explain the Enormity of the Global Sex Trade. Before I do that, though, let me give you a small tour of her very humble home. Okay, it is a studio home. Main room is a combination office, living room, kitchen, dining area. There's a room with a bedroom, and of course the bathroom. Over here is a small patio area. And she is working on her short stories while listening to music. Also very tired. All right, now we continue with this article. After I get a drink here. Very thirsty. I am not going to read the entire article, just enough to hopefully cause you to want to click the link in the description of this video or in the pinned comment so you can read the entire article for yourself. There is also a video on the website that I strongly suggest you watch. There is so much information in this USA Today's article, you must read it for yourself. Included in the article are several links which you can receive more information if you click on them, and I strongly suggest that you do. I've decided to read only the 13 statistics that, quote, help explain the scope of the problem. Again, I strongly suggest you click on the links in the article so that you can read the information yourself and gather more information on this topic. Here are the 13 statistics that help explain the scope of the problem. Number 1. There are more than 4 million victims of sex trafficking globally. A study from the United Nations International Labor Organization estimated 3.8 million adults and 1 million children were victims of forced sexual exploitation in 2016 around the world. Let me pause this again so I can turn down the game sound a little bit here. Okay, that should be low enough. I want to make sure you are able to hear me. Whoa, she is very low on energy here. And she's hungry. Let's have her stop writing for a little bit. New save. I think I'll let her write a little bit longer. All right, continuing. Number 2, 99% are women and girls. The vast majority of sex trafficking victims are women and girls, though men, boys, trans, intersex, and non-binary individuals can be victims as well. The International Labor Organization estimates that 99% of the adults and children forced into sexual exploitation in 2016 are female. Number 3. There is no official estimate of sex trafficking victims in the U.S. The State Department releases an annual report on human trafficking with breakdowns for individual countries, though it is largely focused on government actions to address the trafficking and does not estimate the total number of victims. However, in its 2019 report, the State Department found the top 3 nations of origin for human trafficking victims were the United States, Mexico, and the Philippines. It does not break that figure down for sex trafficking alone. Polaris tracks the number of reports made to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, a figure often used by researchers. In 2018. It received 5,147 reported cases of human trafficking. Of those, 3,718 were related to sex trafficking. Okay, she's very tired, but she's going to need something to eat here. Let's turn the radio off. Sheldon! My cat just jumped on my lap and almost landed on my keyboard. All right, let's continue with the article. Number 4. 7 in 10 victims were exploited in Asia and the Pacific region. According to the International Labor Organization report, more than 70% of sex trafficking victims were located in Asia and the Pacific, compared with 14% in Europe and Central Asia and 4% in the Americas. In illicit massage parlors in the U.S., the vast majority of reported trafficking victims are from China, with a notable number from the Zhejiang province in southeastern China. South Korea forms the second highest group. Number 5. 1 in 7 reported runaways in the U.S. in 2018 is likely a victim of child sex trafficking. In the U.S., sex trafficking victims include immigrants as well as American citizens. Though there is no official number, advocates and researchers say the number of domestic victims is high. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, 1 in 7 of the more than 23,500 runaways reported to the nonprofit organization were likely victims of child sex trafficking. Number 6. Girls in foster care are particularly vulnerable. In recent years, a pipeline from the foster care system to trafficking has gained attention. A report from the Human Rights Project for Girls, Georgetown Law Center on Poverty and Inequality, and Ms. Foundation for Women supports that finding. Titled, The Sexual Abuse to Prison Pipeline. The report found that girls who grow up in the instability of the child welfare system, particularly those placed in multiple homes, are vulnerable to the manipulation of traffickers who promise to love and care for them. Indeed, some traffickers purposely troll the youth in certain group homes because they are aware of this vulnerability. Number 7. Profits from forced sexual labor are estimated at $99 billion worldwide. According to a 2014 report from the International Labor Organization on Forced Labor, commercial sexual exploitation accounted for 2/3 of the profits from forced labor. And forced sex work commanded the highest profits per victim compared to other types of labor like domestic work. The job I'd given my sim is a police officer. Always wanted to fight crime. Now I can, at least in The Sims. Okay, it's computer needs a little all the way up. There you go. Number 8. Profits are highest per sex trafficking victim in developed economies. Notice that it says in developed economies. Though the number of victims is highest in Asia. The annual profits per victim were highest in developed countries because traffickers can charge more for sex acts. The International Labor Organization estimates annual rates of around $80,000 per victim in developed countries and $55,000 per victim in the Middle East. Number 9. There are an estimated 9,000 illicit massage parlors across the U.S. Polaris estimates that more than 9,000 illicit spas operate across America. In a 2017 report, the nonprofit found that illicit parlors are in business in every state, in suburban strip malls as well as big cities. According to a 2014 report from the Urban Institute, the number of illicit parlors is growing, and they're expanding beyond hubs of the East and West Coast. Number 10. Profits from illicit massage parlors are estimated at $2.5 billion. In its report, Polaris calculated the total based on a national average of 2 women working at each illicit parlor, with an average of 12 million visiting each parlor a day, spending $60 per visit, based on commercial sex review boards. Similar estimates were calculated by researchers who published a 2017 article in the Journal of Human Trafficking. Researchers found the industry brought in $107 million annually in Houston and extrapolated that figure to $2.8 billion nationally. Number 11. Events like the Super Bowl increasingly are monitored for sex trafficking. Efforts to combat trafficking around major events have increased in recent years, most notably around the Super Bowl. It's not necessarily about football or the NFL. Courtney Dow, an outreach coordinator for the Atlanta-based nonprofit Dream Center, told USA Today before Super Bowl 53 in January. When groups of men get together, usually trafficking and exploitation increases. In May, police arrested 4 men on human trafficking-related charges following a sting around the Kentucky Derby. Louisville Metro Police said those arrested were from out of town and had responded to online advertisements for sexual acts with minors. Advocates are split on whether events increase trafficking, however. We actually think that trafficking is a major issue 365 days a year, Miles said. The same 20,000 pimps are moving around to where the action is. Number 12. Prosecutions of sex trafficking are down in the U.S. The State Department's 2019 Trafficking in Persons report found the Department of Justice opened significantly fewer human trafficking investigations in 2018 compared to 2017, dropping from 783 to 657. It also reported significantly fewer prosecutions, 230 down from 282. That holds true for cases specifically focused on sex trafficking. Of the prosecutions, 213 were for sex trafficking, down from 266 in 2017. Number 13. Victims are still arrested for crimes they were forced to commit by traffickers. The State Department's report found that at the state and local level, victims are still being arrested for crimes they are compelled to commit, such as commercial sex work, including child victims. This comes despite a push for safe harbor laws passed in at least 34 states, which are meant to stop child sex trafficking victims from being prosecuted for prostitution and other charges related to commercial sex. It's 44 states have passed laws allowing survivors to seek a court order vacating, expunging, or sealing convictions that resulted from acts traffickers forced them to commit. Not a very happy article, is it? That USA Today news article on sex trafficking was published yesterday, July 30th, 2019. That is the end of the article. Again, I ask you to please click on the link in the description, or that is pinned in the top comment, so that you can read the article yourself and check out all of the links in it. Oh, thanks, Mom. I just got breakfast served to me. Oh. Please stay safe and always follow the real Jesus. We'll continue this case much later. Goodbye for now.